In this video, we are going to discuss mixed numbers, improper fractions, and equivalent fractions. Let's begin. So we start at the top with some definitions. A mixed number is a whole number combined with a fraction. So an example of that would be like 1 3/4 or like 8 1/2. Those are examples of mixed numbers. And an improper fraction is a fraction whose numerator is greater than the denominator. So whose top number is greater than the bottom number, also known as a fraction greater than 1. So if you notice normal fractions like 3/4 or 1/2, the numerator, or the top number, is smaller than the denominator. But with an improper fraction, or a fraction greater than 1, we would have like 7/2. The top number, numerator, is bigger than the bottom number. What this is saying is like 7/2, and 7/2, the reason we call it an improper fraction is because if you had 7/2, that's like having, well, you can make 3 wholes out of that and have 1/2 left over. So that's called a improper fraction, or a fraction greater than 1. So with this, in our notes, we are gonna kind of go over some learn about fractions using these pizzas, these circle pizzas. So here's a picture of a whole pizza. It's like a whole circle. Half of a pizza is like half a circle. A quarter of a pizza is, you know, smaller than the half. It's like half of a half. And 1/8 of a pizza, which is like a little slice. And 8 of these slices make a whole pizza. So let's go over the directions. It says, how much pizza is pictured in each box? Write your answer as a whole or mixed number. So we've got 1, 2. We've got 2 whole pizzas, and we've got a half of a pizza. So that is 2 1/2 pizzas. How much pizza is in this box right here? We've got 1 whole pizza, and then these are little 1/8 slices. So 1/8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/8. So we've got 1 whole pizza, and we've got 7/8 of a pizza. Let's take a look at the third box. We've got 1, and then this is 1/4 or 1/4, and then another 1/4, which is 2/4. So that's 1 2/4. Now, some of you may have noticed that, wait a minute, if I put these 2/4 together, I can actually make half a pizza. So you can also say 1 1/2. That's also a correct answer. Let's take a look at the next one. We've got 1/2, 2, 3, 4. That's like, we can make a whole pizza here, and we can make a whole pizza. So we have like 5 halves together, but 2 of these, 2 halves right there make a pizza. Another 2 halves make another pizza, and then we have another half pizza. So that's actually 2 whole pizzas and then 1/2. Over here we've got 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5, 6, 7, 7/4. But if you notice, with 4/4, these 4/4, they make, these 4 make 1 whole pizza. And then you've got 1, 2, 3 more fourths. So that is 1 3/4 of a pizza. And then we have our 1/8 slices. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's 1/8 of a pizza. Oh, that's 8/8. That's 1 whole pizza. And then you've got another whole pizza. And then you've got 1, 2, 3 more 1/8. So that is 2 whole pizzas and 3/8. Now it says, now instead of having pictures, it just says we've got 11/8 of a pizza. So over here we had 8, 16, 17, 19/8. Over here we have 11/8. How many whole pizzas can I make from 11/8? Well, it takes 8/8 to make a whole pizza. So, and then I would have 3 left over. So basically you're dividing. You're saying 11 divided by 8 is 1. So if you were to do this, 11 divided by 8, you have 1, and then 1 times 8 is 8, and then we subtract, and then we have 3 left over. That's a remainder of 3, which we could turn into a fraction. We could say 1 pizza and 3/8 of a pizza. So 1 3/8. So 1 3/8. 11/8 is 1 3/8. 9/4 of a pizza. You could think, oh, well, you know, that's, you know, 4 goes into 9 twice. We can also divide if you prefer. So it's 9 divided by 4. 4 goes into 9 twice. 4 times 2 is 8, so we subtract, and we are left with a remainder of 1, which we turn into a fraction, 1 over 4. So we have 2 1/4. So 9/4 of a pizza is the same thing as 2 1/4 of a pizza. And finally, we have 6 over 2. Many of you know the answer. It's pretty simple for you. If we had 6 halves of a pizza, you can actually make 3 pizzas out of 6 halves. All right, let's go to the next page. Let's convert these mixed numbers into whole numbers. Oh, sorry, mixed numbers and whole numbers into improper fractions. So we have these 1, 2, 3 whole pizzas. How many half-sized pizzas are there right here? Well, we have a half right here, another half, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 halves. So you would write that as 6 over 2. How many fourth-size pizzas are there? 1/4 size pizza. So this is a 4th size pizza is like, you know, a little triangle thing. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So just wrote 10 twice. 11. So that is 11/4 of a pizza. You may have figured out that you can count faster by just saying that's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that works as well. How many 1/8 size pizza slices are there? Well, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 8 pizza slices right here. So I'll just go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then here's a 9th and a 10th and 11, 12, 13. There are 13/8. So we are writing these, we're turning these into improper fractions because remember an improper fraction is one where the top number, numerator, is greater than the denominator. How many quarter slice or 1/4 slice pizzas? How many 1/4 sized pizza slices are there right here? 4 right here, and then 5 and 6. That is a total of 6/4, which you may notice is, oh wait, 6/4. That's the same as like, you know, you can actually reduce 6/4. Because some of you are thinking, I can reduce that by dividing the top and bottom by 2. If I divided this by 2 and this by 2, and you end up with 3 over 2, or 3 halves. And you may be wondering, like, how is this 3 halves? Well, if you look, you've got half of a pizza over here, right? You take those 2 and that makes a half. And this also makes a half right up there. And this also makes a half down there. So there are 3 halves of a pizza. So that's just another way you can look at it. Let's say there are 3.5 pizzas. How many half-slice pizzas can be made? Well, if there are 3 whole pizzas, how many half-slice pizzas can we make? 1, 2, 3. And then we've got another half. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 7 halves. Another way you can do this that doesn't involve drawing is that you can just multiply. Because if there are 2 halves in every whole, see, 2 halves in every whole, 2 times 3, that gets us 6, right? And then what we do is we have to add that remaining half. So we take this remaining half, so 6, and then we add that 1, which gets us 7. 7 over 2, 7 halves of a pizza. So let's try that with this one. This one says, how many quarter-sized pizzas, 1/4 size pizza slices can be made from 2 3/4 of a pizza? Well, every 2 whole pizzas, the 2 whole pizzas, you can make 4 out of each of them. So there's 4 there and 4 there, so that is a total of 8. And then we could just add those 3 extra 4th size slices. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11/4. All right, let's look at equivalent fractions now. Now, equivalent fractions are fractions with different numerators and denominators that represent the same value. So, kind of like how we said 6/4 is the same thing as 3 over 2, 3 halves. We have a half of a pizza is the same thing as 2/4 of a pizza because this is a 4th and that's a 4th. So that's 2/4. And 4/8. This is an 1/8, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4/8. And notice they are all the same size as the half. Right? 2/4 is the same as a half, and 4/8 is the same thing as a half. So, can you think of 3 other fractions that are equivalent to 1/5? This is what if you wanted to figure out fractions that are equivalent, you could either multiply the top and bottom by the same number or divide the top and bottom by the same number. So let's say I decide to multiply the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. I can get 2/10. I can multiply the top and bottom by 2 again, and I end up with 4/20. I can also decide to multiply the top and bottom of this by 3 instead of 2. So 1 times 3 is 3, 5 times 3 is 15. You can, just say 10/50 as well. So there are 100/500. There are lots of correct answers that you can put for this, because lots of fractions. There's an infinite number of fractions that is equivalent to 1/5. So 3/8, let's do the same thing. Just multiply the top and bottom by the same number. I'll just do 2. That gets me 6/16. I can multiply the top and bottom by 3. That gets me 9/24. I can also multiply the top and bottom by, let's do a different number. How about 5 instead of 4? That gets us 15/40. All of those are equivalent to 3/8. Let's think of 3 fractions that are equivalent to 20/60. I've been doing a lot of multiplying, but as I said before, you can also divide the top and bottom by the same number. So I can actually divide the top and bottom of this by 10. And what would you get? You would get 2/6. And that's equivalent to 20/60. You can also divide the top and bottom by 2 and get 10/30. You can also divide the top and bottom by 20 or 5 and get 4/12. You could even do this. You can divide this top and bottom by this of this number by 10, and then divide the top and bottom of your reduced fraction again. So I could divide 2/6 by 2, and then I'm going to get 1/3. So you're going to find that 1/3 is equivalent to 20/60 as well. Now, how does that work? Well, if I multiply the top and bottom by 20, 1 times 20 is 20, 3 times 20 is 60. So it goes in both directions. You can multiply or divide, and you'll get equivalent fractions. These last 3, they're asking us to reduce the fraction to the simplest form. So although there are an infinite number of ways you can write 3/8 or 1/5 or 1/3, and they would all be equal, the best form is the most reduced form, which is like the form where you cannot divide anymore. So like we have 9/24 and 6/6. Sorry, let's use this one. 4/20 is the same thing as 2/10. And 2/10 is the same as 1/5, and 1/5 is the same as 10/50 or 100/500. What's the best form of writing this fraction? It's 1/5, because it's called the most reduced form. We cannot simplify or divide the top and bottom by anything. So if we want to do that, we can just keep dividing the top and bottom. Now, if you could come up with the, find the least common, greatest common factor and divide it by that, that would be great. But if you can't do that, you can just keep dividing again and again. So I know that 16 and 20 are, they're both even, so I could divide that by 2. And I would get 8/10. But I could still divide 8/10. So I'm going to divide by 2, and I end up getting 4/5. And I cannot divide 4 and 5 by anything. There's no common factor greater than 1. So 4/5 is the most reduced form, or the simplest form. Let's see, 28/42. I know 2 works for both of them, so I'm just going to do a little /2 instead of division, because division symbol takes me a while. And that equals 14/21. And you may be thinking, oh, well, 2 doesn't work, so that must be done. Well, 3 doesn't work either, but 7 does. So you can divide the top and bottom by 7. And if you divide the top and bottom by 7, you get 2/3. And you cannot reduce 2/3. Lastly, can we reduce this mixed number? We can reduce this mixed number. Now, when we reduce mixed numbers, we kind of leave the whole number alone. The whole number is fine. what we need to reduce is just the fraction portion of it. So what number goes into both 15 and 18? It's 3. So we divide the top and bottom by 3, and we end up with 5/6, which cannot be reduced any further. Now you may be thinking, oh, do we divide 12 by 3? No, we don't divide 12 by 3 because it is a whole number, and we leave the whole numbers alone. And so our answer is 12 5/6. Now if you're wondering why we leave the whole numbers alone, imagine if we had, I'm just going to draw this down here. Imagine if we had 1 2/4 of a pizza. This is 1 2/4 of a pizza down here. And you're thinking, wait, isn't 1 2/4 the same thing as 1 1/2? 1 2/4 is the same as 1 1/2, just like 12 15/18 over here is the same thing as 12 5/6. Notice it's the whole number stays the same. You don't divide that or reduce it at all. You just need to fix or reduce the fraction. Anyways, that is our notes on mixed numbers, improper fractions, and equivalent fractions. Go ahead and try some problems on your own. Good luck.